Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Autistic Assemble. Today, for the first time, I believe it's the first time. Um, anyway, I joined with Beatriz and all the way from Chile. So it's gonna be really cool. And it's her first time on the podcast, so like on any podcast. So it's gonna be a really good experience. So Beatriz, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Beatriz. I'm 26 and I'm from Chile. Right now I'm about to start a new journey into university to study to be a teacher. I was diagnosed last year, so yeah, I'm still learning and it's
Yeah,
cool to be here.
yeah. So quite not so you weren't diagnosed too long ago then, just over the last
Hmm.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with it's really cool you want to be a teacher as well. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Is there anything in particular that you want to teach or just
Um, yes, I want to teach English since here is not really like something like really strong. I mean, they teach it, but not every school has like a great English program.
hmm,
So I come from a British school here in Chile, and I would like to use my abilities to give people who don't have like some people from public schools or schools that don't have enough resources, so they can have the same possibility in the future for anything they want to do.
yeah. I think that's really cool because I think it is important to like especially if people don't have chances or if they like
Mm.
go to a school that maybe it's too packed and stuff like that. So I think it's really cool that you want to do that. Um, but like is that the main thing that that you're really passionate about teaching then, like English?
Um, no, I mean, last year I graduated. I mean, I finished film school, but I I feel like in the one hand I kind of hate. I don't know if hate is really the right word because I filmed a movie last year for the
Mm,
first time. I was an assistant producer,
mm,
and I felt like the environment was very exhausting.
yeah,
It was very stressing. And this was like before I really got to, no, it wasn't last year, it was in 2021. This was before I thought that I could be autistic.
yeah,
And then, like, while I was studying, I used to write poetry a lot.
mm,
And I was very passionate about film. But then along the way, I felt like with all the new people that I met, the new, like, there's no structure because you can say, okay, we're going to film this scene and scene number one, two, three, but then you lose time or on the director goes like, you know what? I want to film a new scene, a scene that I just wrote this morning and that
mm,
you're all going to hear right now about. And that was very stressing. And I also had to go to new places, like I had to go to buy things to places that I didn't know about, which also was very stressing because I didn't know what to expect. So all
yeah,
of this kind of burned me out. And I have been with this during maybe 5 years. So I kind of grew up to hate a little bit like the environment of filming.
yeah. I can
But
imagine.
I st yeah, but I still like like the analysis part. Like I would like to probably mix teaching and film, but with a more younger public,
Yeah,
like maybe make film club because now kids watch a lot of films, watch a lot of TV shows. more than we ever did before. So I would probably like to teach them how to analyze what they're watching.
Yeah, because like you say, it's not. It looks really easy when you're watching it, doesn't it? Say you're watching a show or a TV show or a movie. It just looks really easy. Like the actors who are doing that, right?
Yeah.
And they make it so easy. And then there's certain things that are harder than maybe the other things. To maybe act. Say if you're a lead character, that's very hard. And you have to remember all those lines. Like
Mm.
I guess every kind of maybe thing is different. So perhaps in one thing you might, like you said, like you have to learn something really fast and do it quickly,
Yeah.
and then sometimes you'll have a longer to do it for. I guess depending how long it is, how long their film is.
Mm.
So last night, well, I watched Teen Wolf movie. I watched, and that was 2 hours and 20 minutes, and you can imagine how long, because I think they all filmed that in a year when they did that. And then you can imagine how they got to know their lines, and it's I guess being autistic, if you're doing acting, it's kind of intense because there's a time
Yeah.
limit, and you feel like maybe you're having to be rushed and sometimes when you want to take the time to learn everything.
Yeah, and it's not just like the dialogue, but also the emotions.
Mm.
And I think I used to like theater. I was in theater club, and well, I think it was a bit easier in some ways, but I never really like understood like the emotions that I had to portray. I usually like used to think on a character that I could remember or think about doing this character, and I was like, okay, so this person, this actor does this face when he's in this situation that is like the situation that I have to act.
Mm.
So it's like just okay, open the archive and take what I need.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Mm,
Like I think it's hard because like a lot of people who are autistic, in any job, it's hard to get, and it's hard for people to understand us
yeah.
because we're all different. Like and it's confidence. It's all to do with confidence, especially acting. Like you've got to be confident to do it because if you're not confident, it's not going to go very well.
Mm.
Unfortunately, but but I've done acting. Like I did there was a play and when I was at school and I played a multi-role character, so I was more than one person, more than one character or personality. So I had to
Mhm.
change that very quickly. And I was originally going to be the lead role, and then the
Yeah.
teacher looked and said, "Hang on, you should be the multi-role character because there's only a few of us doing it." And so at one point I think someone's husband, and then I was just someone's I was dancing. It was pretty funny at the time because I had to learn how to dance a particular routine,
Yeah.
like in the olden days, where you have to go spin round and all that, and that was hard. And I think I got laughed about. I got laughed at a little bit, but I think at the time I might have took that a bit serious because I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to do it
Yeah.
wrong. But it's hard, but it's fun. It can be acting's really fun, but it's just hard as well.
Yeah. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, I I I remember like as soon as I'm doing like maybe a load of dancing and you're moving about a lot at
Mm.
home and I sleep. I'll be asleep in
Yeah,
the day.
yeah. I do that too.
Yeah, I do it quite often. Um,
Yeah. I think like after the holidays, I just slept the whole week.
yeah, and put film on maybe, but you fall asleep. Yeah, it's cool. Like I love acting. Like I love acting. I like music as well. When I watch something, I I analyze the music because I love music and like it just calms me. And if I need to concentrate, I put music on. It's like it helps me gain concentration again
Mm.
because music is a part of a lot of things I've got to do with acting.
Yeah.
You probably don't see it when you're doing it, like because perhaps there is some music in the background, but like say you're in a film and it's on telly and you can't you might not be able to hear the music at the same time, and like it's really cool because I think like composers who do music for different things it's a really hard job because I
Yeah,
imagine I spent
definitely.
hours doing a soundtrack maybe for a character. So say you've got a film and you have a soundtrack for one character, then another character, then another character, and then
Yeah.
and then say that this character appears in another series in the same series, but um in the same program but different series. They might have to change it a little bit just so it's not the
Yeah,
same.
like modify it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not the same. Um, because it's good when it is the same, but it's always good, like you say, just change it a little bit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. I think like this, I also like try to concentrate on the soundtrack. I think like my favorite is the one of the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
I
Rings.
feel like, yeah, I feel like that one was really well made.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's good. Like I've never personally watched the Lord of the Rings, but um, I think I think isn't the Lord of the Rings the one that has like 3 hour films and stuff like that?
Hmm.
It's very long.
Oh, yeah, it's really
Yeah,
long.
very long. Yeah. Which is why I prefer watching it at home because if I need a toilet, I can just go and not hold it in because I need to watch it all in one go. That's one thing. Like if you're going to the cinema, which I didn't ideally like because I pay my money to go see a film. And if I need a toilet halfway through, I don't want to go because I miss a bit. It's not like you can pause it.
Yeah, to me, that's really hard because I have a hard time identifying how I feel. Like, either if I want to go to the bathroom, I really don't know until it's really like really bad, or if I'm hungry, which is like every day, I don't know if I'm hungry unless my stomach starts making those ugly noises.
Yeah,
That's when I know that I have to eat.
yeah. I guess sometimes we lose track of time, don't we? Like
Mm.
it say you've had a lay-in and you wake up around lunchtime perhaps. Um, you kind of think, oh yeah, I forgot breakfast. Oh, I don't need breakfast now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you might
it
have
happens
breakfast.
every time.
You might have breakfast when you wake up, perhaps at maybe if there's a day you wake up at 12, and then you think, oh, if I have lunch now, it's got to be a few hours later because I can't have breakfast and then my lunch. So you wait a few hours, and you think, is there any point because I'm gonna have dinner at that maybe time? So yeah, it's crazy. Like I think routines,
Yeah.
like we have, people have their own routines, don't they? Like wake up at a certain time, maybe every day. But sometimes you might not want to. You might want to have a lay-in one day, or you might not want to have a lay-in. You might be a person who loves to get up early every day. Yeah. Um. But in my mind, if I need to be up, I'll be up. If I don't, well, I don't. Like if I have to be up really early, I will. I'll just put my alarm on. Not entirely happy about getting up early, but
No,
it
I can relate to that. I
yeah.
can relate to that. I did that during the holidays. I usually I'm still in bed around almost 12 o'clock
Mm,
because I mean I wake up at 10:30. Then I eat my breakfast, which is only like 3 cookies
mm.
and a glass of milk. And then I'm just like, I'm going to sleep again.
I think we were talking about
Oh, but yeah,
sleep.
the holiday, yeah, I had
Mm,
to wake up very early, like around 7 or 5 a.m., which
mm,
is not my usual time
yeah,
because I had to go to this guided trip to few caves and natural reserves. So I don't know how I did it, but my body like knew when to wake up. I didn't want to wake up,
mm,
but I had to, and I could like get up and do my things, but
yeah, definitely. And like that's it, isn't it?
mm,
That's what it's like when if you're on holiday, you have to wake up early because if you wake up at 12, the day's gone.
yeah,
And I'm the same when I go on holiday. I think I've got to wake up really early, got to have my breakfast, and then I've got to go out. Um, And like I'm the same. Like I will wake up maybe perhaps at 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I have my breakfast, and then I'll go back to sleep for a little bit. And I guess the reason that I do goes probably if I don't like I wake up if I have to, and I won't if I won't. It just kind of I just take it by like maybe if I have a course to go on, I'll have to get up. I have no choice. In the past, I haven't. I've just I don't know. I just haven't been motivated to attend, especially at the start because I thought it's only a one-off. They won't worry, and then I've got calls coming in asking why have I joined, um, and you get that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
well, when you say that you wake up and you have your free cookies and milk, that just paints in my eyes something from a movie, but they do in like a film or something like that. I have their like cookies like Cinderella or something like that. Like you have your milk and stuff like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's like a very childish thing about
Yeah.
me, really. I just literally the three cookies, the milk, and in front of me is the TV with the cartoons. Like I need the cartoons when I wake up.
Yeah, I've always got it on when I wake up. I'll put it on like sports channels because I like sports, so I'll put it on a sports channel. So if I can be awake, so sometimes I eat so fast in the mornings. I guess I eat fast because I want to go back to sleep. Um, that's one of the reasons. Um, and sometimes I'm just really cold. I don't know why. I just cold when I wake up. Um, and I guess sometimes I'll watch stuff late the following night, and which is why I'm probably more tired. I made myself more tired because I watch stuff. Like I might watch a film. I always like to watch a film or something before I go to bed. Um, Um, and I think, like, especially if you're watching a series, you think, "Oh, just one more," and
Yes.
and then it gets to like 5 o'clock in the morning, and you think,
Yes.
"What's going on?" Wake up a few hours.
Gosh, we're very similar. I do exactly the same thing. I just watch three ep 3 to 2 episodes of anime, then I go to another show, and then I go, okay, this is really good. I
Yeah,
need to watch another one. And then it's like 2 a.m. and I just need to go to bed.
yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think it's hard to do the transition of doing like watching something you love and then having to go to sleep, and then you're really happy in your bed and you can't do the transition into waking up and just carry on with your schedule.
yeah, like it's annoying because you'll watch something and then you say, "Hang on a minute, I can't watch it now because I've got to do something else. I've got to go
Mm.
out and meet someone, or um, I've got something to do that doesn't. I can't watch it." But I guess it's just it's something that you like and you just want to watch it on and on and on. I guess even watching it sometimes you might be a little bit tired, but it keeps you awake because you just
Yeah,
stare at it.
it's like the body has like a mind of its own at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, good though. We got a mind of our own because if we didn't, don't know what would happen. Yeah.
True.
Um. But But yeah. So with your getting diagnosed with autism, like when I know you said it was last year, but was it like early last year or a bit later on in the year?
Mm, my diagnosis, I got my diagnosis on November, like two
Okay.
days after my birthday on the 23rd. But I started like um questioning myself around May, I think.
Okay.
I was, yeah, because before that I was as a child, I got diagnosed with ADHD,
Mm.
but I still felt like very different. I knew what was ADHD, but there was something else that I felt that was going on with me. So I was on Instagram and I follow these ADHD accounts, and I usually get ADHD memes and posts on my feed. And then suddenly one day I get this information about autism, and I just read them, and each day I was like, hey, I do that. That's me. Wait, that thing has a name? And I just kept doing that, and just like quoting David Barnes, I was like, okay, check, 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 check. And then around October maybe, or a bit earlier, I told my mom, I think I'm autistic.
Yeah.
And at first I don't know really how she felt about it. I mean she wasn't like rejecting it.
Mm.
It was like, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, but I really wasn't sure if she really was accepting that. She said, okay, maybe one day we're going to get a formal diagnosis, but was never really sure when it was going to be. And then around October, I think, no, September, I went to a doctor that he's really open with me about anything. He likes to talk to me, and I don't know what we were talking about, but he told me, hey, do you have anxiety? I was like, yeah, this happens to me, and this and this and this. And he was like, okay, and told him, I think I might be autistic. He was like, you maybe are.
Yeah.
And he told my mom, like, it's important for you to take your daughter to get diagnosed, like a diagnosis, because if she's going to start like university again, she needs to start by knowing herself better. So that's how it started, and I started like looking for centers that
Yeah.
not only treated autistic people, but also knew about the new information that we have today about autism and autism in women. And then it took like 3 months to get diagnosed. Like, not the process of waiting. It was really fast, really. But the diagnosis process
Yeah.
took like 3 months. I think it was very similar to what I've heard
Yeah.
around from people who get diagnosed and tell like their story about the process. But I think it was a little bit different in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like it's good that it was pretty fast, like kind of September time, and then leading into
Yeah.
November time, which like it's good because like you pretty new to you, like I guess you because of getting diagnosed with ADHD younger, like autism is kind of in that bracket, isn't it? Like within it, pretty similar in ways, and different. But it's good that you got that diagnosis because getting a diagnosis does really help. Like especially if you're going to university, and it helps with people get like having to try and get the support that you need as well. So it's really
Yeah.
good for that.
Yeah. And again, I feel like I was very lucky because I've heard people who say like it takes almost 3 years to even get diagnosed.
Mm.
And I think like that's crazy. I mean, not because it's like a great amount of people who are getting diagnosed, but like I feel like it's the system of these centers. Like it's not really well. Like,
Yeah, I think like it's like do you know like friends that are autistic in Chile at all like have been diagnosed as well?
I really don't know like autistic people here. I mean, I know about a person who self-diagnosed, so but I don't know her really well. I mean, I met her at my last job,
Okay.
but we barely talked about it. So I don't know if to count it as a friend, really. We didn't really talk too much about her experience. She was busy trying to diagnose me. But
Yeah,
mostly I've talked more with people in the US or other countries, but
yeah,
not no, wait. During the process of diagnosis, well, it was before everyone got diagnosed. I don't know if everyone really got diagnosed, but there was this part where all the people who was doing the process would be gathered together in a room with, the doctors, the psychiatrist, and everyone who's able to diagnose you. And we will talk about our experiences, and they would make us questions, and we would answer it and talk with each other. So I think that's probably maybe a closer experience here in Chile,
yeah,
which was great, really.
yeah.
I don't know if people do that in other countries while doing the process of diagnosis, but I thought that was groovy, really.
Yeah, it's good to hear about how other countries do it because well, in US I've heard US of like and Chile and like other places because it's good because not everyone has good experience getting diagnosed as well.
Mm.
Like it can take like 3 months, and then sometimes, like you say, you have people have 3 years or um
Mm.
some people not even getting listened to as well. So. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 9, so I've heard it a little while. Um, I don't have ADHD. I was tested for it, but I don't have ADHD, so I just have autism. But it is hard because, like you say, like it's hard for girls to get diagnosed.
Yeah.
And when I was diagnosed, a lot of people my age, so 9, were getting diagnosed too, and now I'm older, you see loads of people, like, I wouldn't say loads, but more people getting diagnosed maybe um around around your age or from
Mm.
teenager onwards, kind of years than about 9. I guess it's good to get diagnosed, but like, do you think it was an ideal like time for you to get diagnosed, or would you like to have thought wished that you got diagnosed like early on, or like when you was like a kid, or like how do you think do you go about it? Or do you think it's a good time to get that
I'm
diagnosed?
still like thinking about it every day because sometimes I feel like I would have loved to be diagnosed as a child because I feel like right now I never knew really who I was. I was always someone else. Like I was the imitation of someone who I wanted to be in order to be normal.
Mm,
So I really have that problem that I don't know who the real me is. I feel like maybe if I was diagnosed earlier, I wouldn't be so burnt out like I am now. But also, um, I kind of liked like being diagnosed now because I feel like even though the journey I had in school or being young of being different was a bit like horrible times, I
yeah,
feel like it built who I am, and I really love myself. I really love who I am. So I feel like I could have been someone else if I tried even harder to fit in. But I'm this unique person
yeah,
who thinks different, who is weird. A person who's weird, really.
it's good.
And I really love that.
Yeah,
So I mean, maybe I would have been weirder if to other people if I would have been diagnosed earlier. But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it really. But there's something interesting in discovering this about yourself at the age of 26.
discovering like who you are, like your identity and stuff. Like it's good.
I feel like as a creator, there's a lot of material there to create, like poem or collages, which is something that I also love to do. But I haven't done yet. Maybe one day we'll be able to when everything comes back to normal. But yeah,
Hopefully, because things aren't still back to normal fully. Because the world hasn't been very nice to us these last couple of years, but it's good that you've got a diagnosis within that time, because
yeah,
it's I think it's been really hard to get any diagnosis of anything quite recently. But when I was diagnosed, like it's like it was hard because I never heard of autism before. I think that's maybe because you kind of you kind of maybe thought to yourself, I think, didn't you? Like I may have autism, and when I was diagnosed, I just got told. Like I went for these meetings, like these assessments and stuff. Like you know, when you was younger, like you had a car mat and put all the cars on there, and like the thing for me is I put certain colours in the order that they were. So I would put all the red cars together, all the yellow cars together, and in a row. So I have to go in a row, and I think that's one of the things. And stuff, just some of the things that was discovered and stuff, and I didn't accept it. I didn't accept when I got told I was autism. I didn't know what it was. To me, I was cursed. At that time, I was cursed. What's going on? For me, I thought that's why I weren't good at maths at the time. I'm dumb because I'm autistic, but later, no, that weren't the case. That I am good at certain things. Like I can name you. I'm good at certain things, especially hobbies that I'm interested in. Or I can speak to people all day about them, which is good. Which is I love it. It's one of what I love about being autistic. That kind of thing, and like gaining confidence. I think through the years I have as well. Like um, if I was younger, I wouldn't be able to do something like this because I wouldn't be confident enough. And it's really important to kind of like I think that's a benefit for maybe some people. So if that's the only thing I would change. If I liked I was diagnosed really young, but as well I don't know if I'd be open to getting diagnosed later because especially after my education because it was really hard. And my diagnosis helped me go into maybe an autism kind of centered school and education that way. Because first I went to like a public kind of school, like mainstream school, and that was difficult because people didn't understand autism, and because I got on with the work and I didn't ask for help, they thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't want to ask because several times I would ask in the past, and they would say just try again, so it'd just be the same pattern. I thought I'm getting nowhere, so I just guess. I thought, and that I think that's like a lot of the stigma with autism. If a person is getting on with their work and they don't ask for help, they think they're all right, but it's not like that really.
yeah, I understand that really. I also had like that hard moment in school. I think the only help that I got from school was getting extra time when doing like tests in maths only. Because I mean the other classes were really very interesting to me, but that was the only like help I got. I wish there could be like something more, which is also like a reason why I would like to be a teacher, because I wish to give, you know, neurodivergent kids an experience that I didn't have in school, like to give them a better experience.
Yeah, I think that's really good that you want to do that because like it's good because say you have a person who's neurodivergent or an autistic, they if they know you're autistic and you're happy to tell them that you are, so imagine it would be hard to tell a whole class straight away. But like if they know you're autistic and they're autistic too, I think it's easier for them because I didn't get many when I was at school. I don't think I got any teachers that were autistic, and I think the more people like, I know not every teacher in the world is going to be autistic, but in an ideal world, that'll be lovely.
But there must be, there must be. We
Yeah,
don't know. Like with the
maybe.
amount of people, with the amount of people that have come out as autistic nowadays, I really believe that there are like a ton of teachers who are autistic, but they don't know that. I feel like they don't know that.
Yeah, I had about a few years ago, I spoke to a person that a teacher was autistic, and they shared their story, and they well an English teacher as well, an English teacher, I think it's a form tutor as well. And they taught. It took a little while for them to even tell the head teacher that anyone that she was autistic, even though she was quite open about it, but she just didn't want people to see her differently. And then she learned that someone else was actually autistic as well, and then they spoke out about it. So it's good. Like it's good to have people who are understand as well. So say you do go work at a school and teach English, like it's always important to
Yeah,
just to make sure, like I think for any job really, like before you say you're autistic, just kind of I guess see them and see to say you're autistic maybe straight. Like, it's hard, but if you say you're autistic and you'll see what their response is, if it's like
mm,
really supporting, understanding, maybe it's a good job. But if you go to a place and they don't really want autistic people there, because there are people that unfortunately there are jobs out there that are like that.
yeah,
Like if you're autistic, you can't do it. Which you can. Like you might need a minute sometimes. I think everyone needs a few minutes. Because it can get intense. But yeah, I think it's good that you do want to do that because like it's a good thing. Like you get to see you quite you'd be good at doing it. Like you could communicating and teaching English. Um, it
yeah,
it's really cool that you want to do that.
yeah. And I really like the fact that I'll be working with kids because to me, I don't know if this happens with other autistic, but I feel that kids are much easier to communicate with. Like I couldn't see myself teaching to kids like teenagers.
Yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like it would be much more difficult. I feel like
Mm.
I can, I don't know, I can fit better with kids.
I completely get that because a few years ago I did a program that boosts people's confidence, people who's autistic, and what I did was had two groups, had younger kids, and then I had an older group, um, on I think it was like yeah, so I had a younger group and an older group, and I can see how like easier it is to teach the young kids because I guess that like listen more. Than like I think they all listened. I mean, the older kids listen as well. But I just felt it was easier to teach the younger kids than maybe the older kids because older kids can be more argumentative, can't they? And they'll
Mm,
argue more with you, trying to get attention. Like I admit when I was at school, I was kind of a joker. So if you're doing something in the lesson, I'll try and make a joke just to lighten the
yeah,
mood. If it's something serious we're talking about, I just think humor is really good to
yeah,
have with anything. Like if you have a small joke, but yeah, I can understand. Um, but being a teacher's hard, isn't it? Because you've got to fill in all these forms and mark everyone's work.
yeah. And talking with the parents.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's the only part that I worry about, the
yeah,
parents.
yeah. Like
I'm really scared about that.
yeah, yeah. Like but I can understand that because say you go to like I've been in like a position like you can just imagine you go to like a parents' evening or something, and then like you say a child hasn't been very good, they've been disruptive, they haven't been doing things right, and then the teacher like not the teacher, the parents like why, It, that they're good at home, and then they would say that they're good at home and not at school, and yes, it's hard position to be in. Um,
Yeah.
Really?
And sometimes parents can be very crazy. Like I used to work before on a sort of theme park called Kitsania. I don't know if you have it there, which is a place where kids go. I mean, they have like different businesses
Mm.
and kids, it's like a city for kids. So they go there to play, like, for example, they manage a supermarket or they play that they are a pilot and they win money from that city. They can buy things or pay in some games to cook or things like that.
Okay.
And my job there was to make sure that the group of kids that came that day were doing all right, that they were giving snacks. If they needed help, I had to go and help them. And their parents, some parents are allowed to enter, but in the program, which is the summer camp where I was working, parents were not allowed and we would take care of them. And one day came a mother. I mean, I was walking there and two kids were trying to find, I think it was like a mailing company, and I helped them. They were having fun. Then the next day, the mother came very angry, and she said, "You know, my kids haven't played anything during the days they came." And I was like, "Wait, is she talking about Lucas and his brother?" And I was, and other people, yeah. I saw them having fun yesterday, and she kept like the story that they weren't playing anything. And I clearly saw them playing and having fun. And the next day, she said, okay, my kids are not going to be under the care of people in summer camp. There's going to be a mother who came with their own son, who's friends with my sons, and she's going to take care of them. So we were like, okay, you can't do anything about it. But they were very crazy parents. Even some of them ended up yelling at the people in Kitsania because something very small happened. And I really didn't understand
Yeah.
why she was so mad.
Yes, it's. I guess I don't know. It's something like not everyone's gonna be friendly, unfortunately, in the world, are they?
Mm,
Like it is like I've spoke to people it's interesting and hearing like people who are parents' perspectives of their child who has autism because it can be. I spoke to people and like sometimes it can be hard for them because they're autistic and they might not understand everything. And I understand. I completely understand where parents are coming from because it's not easy. Like it depends on maybe what form autism they have. Like because some people may be really good in one area and maybe not so good in another area. So
yeah,
maybe not so good at maths, but maybe just one thing in maths, and then they're really good at another thing in maths. So and then maybe a hobby. Like autism, I think is really like we spoke about earlier, like about hobbies, like with like TV shows, perhaps, um, watching it on telly. Um, but quite recently, what I've identified is when I watch a show, I like to see if they have any, even though the character may not be an autistic character, um, but
yes,
um, but I will identify if they have it just comes naturally. Like I like Doctor Who, so I see in there like people who have maybe the Doctor has traits of being autistic, but they're not actually autistic in the show, and they shouldn't be autistic in the show if the show doesn't have an autistic character. I always feel an autistic person that is displayed as a character that is autistic should be autistic
mm,
because
yeah,
a person that's not autistic can do it wrong and upset the slightest
yeah,
person, just little. So it's like if a person's autistic, it just makes sense, and it's really
yeah,
hard. Like it depending what kind of autistic person you're playing, and not to be offensive as well. But yeah, I just identify that sometimes. Like you have a trait, it might be that you're like that you like your own space. Perhaps like you see a character in the show like they don't want to be too near too many people, or you can have hugger because like you have what one autistic people can be huggers and some don't want to be. So it's just depending
Yeah.
on the person, really. I don't know if you're the same with watching like shows on telly, but
No,
yeah,
yeah, it happens to me like I feel like I mean I most of the time I feel that way. Like I also analyze the characters. In fact, I do that quite a lot. And I have like a list of characters either in anime or live action TV shows or movies. I have a list of characters. I think, you know what, this character could be autistic. And when it comes to live action, sometimes I do like try to Google the actor or actress and try to see if that person has traits.
yeah, if they are,
I do love I love it when the actor or actress is autistic and is portraying an autistic character like Chloe from Heartbreak High. She's autistic and she helped during the writing of the script. Like the script writers were, okay, so do you feel identified with this? Like, how do you feel when this happens? And I really thought, okay, that's amazing because I literally cried when I watched the show.
yeah,
And then there are other cases like the extraordinary Otonri Wu, which, yes, I mean, sometimes it happens to me that when when the person is not autistic, I kind of get feeling that I wish the person could have been, because yes, they could fall into this thing that could be taken to extreme, that it falls into the I lost the word
yeah,
into like the typical image that people have about autism.
yeah,
But then I feel, for example, with Woo Young Woo, that um, the actress is not autistic, but like I did feel quite identified with the character. I really feel like there was an empathy, like uh, like the actress really cared about trying to understand what autism really is. And I really admire that. And I wish that other actors could do that too. Because sometimes it feels like it's a joke rather than a serious topic.
yeah.
Like, for example, Sheldon Cooper. I feel like it's more of a joke than trying to show the people what autism is really like.
Mhm. Yeah, I do like the Big Bang Theory, but it is hard. Like when you see that kind of stuff, and it's like they say it's a joke. And I don't think they even mean to relate it to autism. I'm not sure.
Mm,
It's hard, like the shows like that, or I think you've got a show called Atypical as well. You've got I'm not sure if the person's actually autistic or not on the show, but you've got stuff like that, and you've got even a show like Undateables that have people who are autistic on it. I'm over in the UK, and it kind of undermines people who are autistic because you're saying it in the name, undateable, like they're undateable
mm,
to date. So I don't like shows like that because um, it kind of doesn't put autism in a good way.
mm,
Especially if you have a person on there who's not autistic and they're playing an autistic character, because
yeah,
I would understand if what it was autism had maybe one or two people in the world that had that were autistic, I would completely understand. I would say that's okay. There's not many people out there have autism, and then as we know, there's loads in different countries that
yeah,
are autistic, and then you think I'm sure there's a few autistic actors out there that they could play the part. I know everyone has their different strengths and things, but I'm sure people can do it. And yeah,
yeah,
it's like anything, is it? It might not be autism. It might be any diagnosis that plays a
yeah. It's
person.
just, I feel like there's something also, the thing that most production corporations want to have a well-known actor in their TV show so that it can, so people can watch it, and so it can be and win, I don't know, prizes and win a lot of money with it. So I think they really don't care about bringing someone autistic because they feel like, okay, maybe it's not going to be a well-known actor. It's not going to bring a lot of money. And so then they say, you know what, let's go with Tom Cruise. Let's go with someone else. I don't know. And I feel that's a big mistake. And that's happening quite a lot.
It is. It's not like, but that's how everyone starts, though, isn't it? Like, if you put someone out there that hasn't been on many things or been in many shows, they're only going to get better. Like they're only going to get more opportunities, and like that's how Tom Cruise probably started. He did right in drama school, perhaps, if he went to drama school, and then look at him now, is Mission Impossible. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I don't know what happened with people nowadays. Like, they want money over quality. And time has proven us that, like you said, people started with small things and they ended up being really huge
yeah, which
icons.
which is one of the reasons I love Doctor Who, because when they announce a new character, especially like a new companion or doctor, they'll put people that are not maybe famous. They'll pick people like who aren't as well known. So I'm not going to pick someone like Tom Cruise or
Yeah.
someone else that's done so much. Like, they picked a person that's been on a series, one series that I'm aware of, but not many things, and someone else who's been on Coronation Street in the UK for a little bit. So I think that's really cool, and just kind of new, just bringing new talent in, because if we bring new people in to do these different things, like, you don't know who they are. So for example, you have say you have Tom Cruise in a new movie. Oh, I don't know why we keep mentioning Tom Cruise, but I don't know what I can think of.
Yeah.
So say we have Tom Cruise in a new movie, and you kind of know what it's about, don't you? So like it might be, I don't know, it might be Fast and Furious 10, if there's a Fast and Furious movie again. And then he's the main character, and you know what he's about. He jumps out of airplanes, he does stunts, and then this new guy or new person is in a show, you have no clue what they're about, and I think that's good, because it stops people from judging them, because everyone judges everyone, like, if they're going to be good or bad. Like, some people don't like to wait before you've actually seen them. I won't judge a person. Well, I won't say I don't like them or like them, because we can't like everyone in films and stuff. We might not like a character because of their character, not because of their actual person, just maybe character they play. And I'll be like, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to judge before, because it's pointless, because it's just which is why I guess why actors, a lot of main actors you may find maybe are not on social media, because they just don't want to see it, and they know they're not all going to be positive comments.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
It happens to me. I think the moment when I realized what is great acting was with Joaquin Phoenix. I remember, like, the first film that I watched with him in it was The Gladiator in school. And I was really mad at the end of the film with him, to the point that I hated Joaquin Phoenix. And then I got to know his brother, I mean, the story of his brother. And then I got to know more about Joaquin, and I was like, okay, he's actually a nice person. Then I understood, like, okay, I hated the character, not the person. I was like, whoa, that's acting. And that really is very significant to me, because, like how you said before, something that really bothers me about, for example, bringing back Tom Cruise, is that I already know what the film is going to be about if I see, I don't know, Tom Cruise, because he does the same character over and over again. and and with a different name, but it is the same character, and it has this structure that follows the structure of the story. So I know, okay, so this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and this is how the story is going to end, like, and then
Yeah,
it happens.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why I like, for example, having new people
Mm.
in films, because you don't know the background, and that's really refreshing. Like, I feel like that's why I feel that Doctor Who is an amazing TV show, because I know you have James Bond that they change the actor every single film, and it's always an actor that we all know about.
Yeah,
But I never feel like whoa, that's amazing, because I feel like there's always this profile that we can see in every other film of theirs. But then we have Doctor Who, and I feel like it's very refreshing, like having someone new, someone with like a lot of quality. Like they thought about this person for this character, so they can follow this personality and keep that continuity and world that they've built in the 60s and that have been extended to today, which I feel that it's really amazing.
yeah. It is really amazing because
Yeah,
like Doctor Who is I don't know. I always I love it because I don't know. Like I go to places like last year. I go to places that I've recorded there. It's awesome that you can go to those sort of places over here. And a bit away from where I live, but I had to go. I'm gonna go this year as well because I was only there for 1 or 2 days. I'm gonna go for a week this time, so I'll have more time to travel, go to different places I want to. But that's already that's kind of new interest of mine. Not Doctor Who, but going to locations where it's been set, which has been really interesting. But going back to like actors and recognizing them, with Spider-Man, like Tom Holland, for example, I watched the new Uncharted film last year, and all I could picture, he was jumping like they do in the Uncharted games, and all I can picture is Spider-Man because he's playing. He's just wherever he's in, I'll picture him as Spider-Man because he's just Spider-Man. Um,
yeah,
it's like Doctor Who, like David Tennant. I'll picture him as David
yes,
Tennant as a doctor. It's like anything, I guess. Like you have a main character, like you said, Tom Cruise. We went to Tom Cruise a lot, but like Daniel Craig, James Bond. You're gonna picture him as James Bond because he's been
yeah,
James Bond. He's not James Bond anymore, but he's there. It's been for like a decade or more for James Bond. So you're just gonna picture these different actors in in a show that you recognise them in, but they're not that character. They're a different character, which is it's really interesting, and I
yeah.
especially they play
There's
a
also,
different sort of character as well.
yeah, and there's also like this, like the other way around, but I feel like I need to get it up to the chest. Like The Rock, I
Yeah,
feel like I can never picture him as a character. I picture him as The Rock. I never feel like he's a character. He's the same. He's always The Rock in any different film.
mm,
And I don't know. That's why I don't really like him. I feel like because I also grew up watching him as a wrestler.
yeah,
So I feel like he built his personality and characters over that wrestling career somehow. I feel like maybe he almost took like another road where he could have been a character when he was in the film of the Mummy
yeah. You could,
and
yeah.
the
Mhm.
Scorpion one. I
Have you
feel
watched?
like
Have you watched
that had,
Jumanji?
yeah, but that was like, I feel in his beginnings he there was something like a spark that he could have been something greater, but then I feel like he went the other way and he
Yeah,
just went under the rock and he stayed as a person instead of like a character. I don't know. I feel like I really see those kind of details when I watch films. I don't know if anyone else does that, like apart from like the music and
Yeah,
anything else.
if they're not originally an actor in the first place, you kind of won't, I guess. Like if they've been like a wrestler or a lot of singers, like Jennifer Lopez is in a lot of
Mm,
films. J-Lo, like she like you could just picture her as a singer more.
yeah.
But I've seen a couple of her films that she's been in. She's done pretty okay. But like you're not gonna picture it, are you? Um, like unless you do have these documentaries about like maybe certain things. Um, that maybe it's just people's lives and they're not originally actors. They just go in it. Which I think that's nice. But yeah, like you say, The Rock. You're gonna picture him as The Rock, and like I've
Yeah.
watched him in different things. And it's just like it is the same character. He hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't changed his personality, which you have to do that in acting.
Yeah. Because as you said, like musicians are very hard, like to try to disconnect them from music and films. But I mean, well, there are a few exceptions. I feel like, for example, David Bowie. I feel like he, he knew his way out from David Bowie, the musician, which is something really hard to do. And even though I don't know much about him, like Harry Styles, I feel like he's kind of being able to do that also. I've only seen like two films really, but I feel like in both of them he really kind of pulled out those characters. And I really am not really a fan of his music or know much about him as a person, so I
Yeah.
feel that's something really.
Because they split up, didn't they? I think it was like One Direction, and they were a band, and then they departed as such. But yeah, there's so many people out there, like you could say. But I guess they just do it because it's something for them to do. Like The Rock probably can't do wrestling anymore, so he does acting or stuff like that. Like he was in a he was in Marvel not long ago doing a film. But had his own film as a Marvel superhero. And yeah, it's like there's so many people out there. Which is why we said that it's good when you have these new people in films because you're not going to know them. Like like it was really cool once I identified in a game I played a character that was a character in Doctor Who, which I found that was very interesting because that I didn't realise. I don't know about you when you watch a film, you'll type in internet who's in the film, and then
Yeah.
you'll see the actors and you'll see who they are, and you may even know a couple, but and then you'll realise if you watch another film, oh, hang on a minute, that's the same person but just playing a different character.
Well, I don't know if that has happened to me before. I feel like I'm always pretty aware of who is acting
Hmm.
in any film because I also have that thing that when I watch a movie, I always go I always watch the credits. So I'm always like there. But no, wait, I think there's maybe one person, which was River Phoenix, the brother of Joaquin Phoenix, who also was one of my special interests like a while ago.
Hmm.
Um, as a child, I watched Stand By Me, and I really loved the film. That was before I had like computers and easy access to internet and phones. So after that, like since I watched it in school, I really didn't really went back to the film, kind of never searched it anywhere. Then I watched Indiana Jones 3. Um, and there was always this scene where
Yeah.
it's in the beginning where you see young Indiana Jones and I watched it after a few years after, and I was like, hey, isn't this the kid from Stand By Me? And then I watched more films, and it was really it was hard to recognize him because he really did like a great job, like making these different personalities, because he really did like different personality characters, from like this kid who is a troublemaker and ends up like changing his ways into someone honest, and then this typical teenage film with a kid who just wants to know what he's going to do with his life, then a kid who's the son of two Russian spies, and then to this guy who has what's the name of this condition when you fall asleep suddenly?
Don't know. I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's quite a famous film with Keanu Reeves, but he really makes different personalities, and maybe he's like one of the few actors who really make that impression to me. But mostly I feel like I have identified most of the actors and their structures in every film.
That's really good.
So
Like for example, Harrison Ford, like with Indiana Jones and Star Wars, it's hard to because he's done in Indiana Jones and he is Han Solo, so it's hard it's hard to watch him. But a thing I have watched is something it's a film called Split. I'm not sure if you watched it, but James McAvoy plays the main character. He does it so well. It's a horror film, but what it is, he plays about 14 personalities in this one person.
Oh yes, I watched it.
Yeah, and I thought that was really good. There was an episode, Glass, so someone else, and I think the guy who does Unbreakable, as well, and they did all that. But I thought it was so cool that the actor was doing all these personalities, and I thought, how cool is that? Like, and it's really hard to keep up who's who, because you had all these different names as well. It was awesome.
It's kind of like their faces kind of change all of a sudden.
Yeah, like they do. Yeah.
Just by doing simple things to change like personality. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and like you don't get that with every actor out there, but it's really good. Like David Tennant, I've seen him in other things. He's played evil characters, and you can just tell he's Scottish, but in Doctor Who he's got a British accent, and you wouldn't know that. It took me years to realise he was, but I think it's really cool. Like different people who do because I think it's really important. I spoke to people who are autistic before, and they are actors, and I say it's important that they realise what their personality actually is in real life, and put your different personalities in acting, because so sometimes people can take that home, it's not really healthy for people to do that. Like James McAvoy, for example, he doesn't want to be the beast at home. He wants to be the beast in Split. So like when you're autistic, you've got to kind of think where reality is and where it isn't. So it's really important.
kind of draw the line.
Yeah, like I did when I did a multi-role characters, I had to kind of change personality as well. So I kind of understand like how you do it. Like I'm playing, like I said before, I'm four characters, so I have to change clothes. Like when it's really dark as well, in a certain time limit, and then my brain went. I had brain fog for a few seconds. One time, I was thinking, I'm ready to go, and then I'm out the curtain, and then I froze. So I froze, and I thought, what am I doing? And then I'm playing a different character than I was 5 minutes ago. So it's hard. It's really hard. It's really clever. Like when you watch a film and or series, and you have a flashback, or you have like another character that's playing the same character in
Yeah.
in the movie, and you're thinking it's not someone different, it's them, or it's them still there, but they're just doing it really clever, being like, so say in a series, Beatrice, you have a good half of you and a bad half of you, which I've seen
Hmm.
before, and then they'll show you the good half and the bad half. So you'll have a bad personality you have to show and a good personality, which is hard because you've been so trying to good doing a bad personality, and then you've got to change it to be really good.
Yeah.
So I think when you do like acting or you've done it before, I think that's one of the things, having to get into character and not staying into character forever. Because so say you've done it maybe 9 a.m. till 6 at night, and then you're home and you're still in that character, you're still speaking in that accent.
Yeah, it's not something really like weird to that happen in Hollywood. Like I've heard from a lot of actors that, for example, like the guy who plays Elvis, like have you noticed that his voice is still like Elvis? Like it seems like he's having a hard time like changing that. And also River Phoenix had his rough times. Like there was this character who lived in the streets and was a drug addict and a hustler, and he was kind of mean at times. Another well, he also played other characters, and well, no, with the one of the hustler, he had a hard time like trying to like go away from drugs from that experience because he really went with real life hustlers
Yeah,
to try to understand the way they lived. And then he had this character in the film called this thing called Love, I think,
mm,
because there was something of Elvis in that film, and the character was really mean, like kind of a jerk. And in real life, he had like these moments where he kind of was a jerk at times because he was still in character, and it was like kind of hard to live that. And also it repeated when he did a character of a guy in the military,
yeah,
and that also was a massive jerk and cursed quite a lot. And he also had an extra hard time trying to not cuss like the character.
definitely. Yeah, it's super
Uh,
hard.
Yeah, I think like before like getting too far or during the process, you have to always have in mind like, okay, this character is like this, he thinks like this, and I'm like this, and I think like this. Trying
Yeah,
to have always a constant conversation between the two persons, like you always talking to the other character. I think that's a way I've always like could remain myself after portraying someone who was quite different as me.
yeah. I think it's like it's always good to do something that you like as well. I think like with acting, like you're not going to start by going in. I don't know if they ever do another Lord of the Rings film, or although it's like you can't go in a big movie straight away because you have to start small and then you work your way up like everyone has. But I do think like with acting and film, as we've spoken about a lot, like with autistic actors, I think they like I'm seeing a few more. Like I've seen a few more actors, but I think they should be more accepting and understand. Um, People like to act, but like people, it's fun. Like I do it in my spare time. I do cosplay about Doctor Who, so I'll do that in my spare time and put on the suit and get stuff.
And
Do this
that's
thing I
great.
like. Yeah, and it's been a recent interest of mine last few years. Probably in 2020 actually. I'd never heard of it, but I thought it was really cool. I like something to do. People seem to like it, so doing something alright. But yeah, it's good when you find new hobbies and linking to old
Yeah.
hobbies.
Yes.
Yeah,
I try to ever since, well, no, it kind of started before I got diagnosed. When I was a child, I used to watch a lot of anime. But then, like, because of life, because one grows up and finds new interests, I kind of left that behind. And then a few years, no, like 4 years before I got diagnosed, a friend told me to watch a certain anime, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And he said, I don't know why I haven't told you to watch this before. You should watch it. And that kind of reactivated my love for anime. And ever since, it has become one of my special interests. I even have I'm starting my new collection of anime jewelry. Like here I have like the rings of Howl's Moving Castle.
That's awesome.
And I have few earrings also, one from Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, and well, also the earrings from Howl. And now I just bought the earrings from Vanitas no Carte and the earring from Kazutora from Tokyo Revengers. So yeah, it's growing.
Yeah, growing bigger.
It's getting bigger every day.
Yes, it's awesome when you get to do stuff like that. Like I like collecting teddies. I like wherever I like plushies and stuff. So like Doctor Who, I'm looking forward to when they release more. Like so, I like the cute kind of things, and I just collect them. And like if I go to somewhere I like on a holiday or somewhere, I'll get it. But yeah, I think it's really cool we get to do stuff like this because it's a good interest to have, and no matter how old we are, it doesn't change.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm developing a new interest in whales. So you can see Willy behind me. And I've been buying a few things of whales lately. So yeah, we'll see how that goes from now
Yeah,
on.
that's a good thing about like you want to be an English teacher with young people because a lot of people will like that kind of stuff if you tell them, and you might want to bring a few bits in if you want, um, or get things like that because I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. But just before we go, because we could speak all day about film and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any like last words or maybe any advice for people maybe getting diagnosed or like the process and everything?
Yes. For people who are trying to get diagnosed, I advise you to really try to research about the people who are going to diagnose you. Like I did, like try to search about their experience in university. What did they study? Did they study about women and autism? Do they still recognize like every level? Like if you just still functional, like if they believe in being functional, like the levels how some people really use, or if they believe that you can be autistic and still be functional or just less functional. I believe that's very important and that really helped me. So really do your homework. It really helps a lot. And I really wish you a lot of luck in your journey.
Yeah, well, I think that's awesome, Beatrice, because it's been awesome speaking to you, hearing about your journey. Um, like it's gonna be a long journey now because not about quite new to a bit autistic, but you knew a little bit about it before as that kind of led to your diagnosis and finding out finding out yourself, identifying it and everything. So I think it's really cool. I've really enjoyed speaking to you about autism, hearing your journey, films, identifying people from film and how we can
Yeah,
relate to them, and yeah, it's gonna be really cool. But I'm glad I hope you've enjoyed it, Beatrice, and everything.
yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
It
well,
was really fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. But to anyone listening or watching, we hope you've enjoyed it as well. And yeah, well, I'll see you in the next episode, and hopefully Beatrice will come in here again, and
Yes.
we can chat more about films and
Okay.
everything.
Yeah, I'd be very glad to do
Yeah.
that.
But thank you,
Yeah.
Beatrice.
You're very welcome. Thank you, really.